Thank you so much. Okay. Again, good evening, everyone. My name is Marissa Mack. I am the outgoing chair of Economic Development and Culture. This is actually my last meeting on as chair, and then obviously last meeting of the year as well. So just welcome to you all and see you later for those who I may not see after this meeting, but thank you all for attending and being on. The upcoming chair will be Giselle. I believe she's on, but yeah, thank you all for being here this evening. I will go over the ground rules before we get started. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click the participants icon, the participant panel should appear, and you should find the raise hand function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. Board members, the chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about the agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. Okay, so now I am calling this meeting to order at 6:36 p.m. Angel, can you please call the roll?
Sure. Stephanie Arroyo.
Here.
April Autry.
Present.
Adem Briha. Devin Cronshaw.
Here.
Marissa Mack.
Here.
Giselle Malave. Jennifer Meyer.
Here.
Jessica Morris. Eugene Rodriguez.
Here.
Vinnie Torres. Jenny Tromsky. You have quorum.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. I just also sent a note to Giselle, so hopefully she will be on soon. The agenda was sent out previously. If there are any objections to the agenda, if you could please raise your hand. Committee members, okay, not seeing any. We are moving forward with the agenda. We do not have the minutes for this month, for last month. But again, you can reference the recording of our meeting, and before the beginning of next year, we will have all of the necessary minutes from the previous months. Okay, so again, just a few announcements. Many of you know Giselle Malave, who will be the incoming chair of the committee. I will send out an email to those on the call this evening and for those that regularly attend so that you have her information. And of course, Angel will still be doing everything behind the scenes. And so he will be a source for those to connect with and to speak with moving forward. I just wanted to encourage everyone to vote in the elections that are currently going on. Early voting is taking place, so please make yourself aware of the candidates and exercise your power to vote for the upcoming election. And then I also just wanted to say congratulations to a number of organizations that were granted funding through Harlem Grown, who did a selection process of different cultural events that will take place within the Harlem community. Did a great job on just going through some of the artistic events that will take place this summer. And so I know that some of you on this call are connected to that, and just wanted to say congratulations and looking forward to seeing your installations throughout the summertime here in the community. And then in addition to that, yeah, I did just note that going forward, our meetings will be in person. And so please take note of that for the upcoming year. So that's it for me. So I am now going to move it over to Carrie King, Executive Director for Uptown Grand Central, for presentation and remarks. Carrie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And let me reiterate, we will miss you. Thank you so much for all your years of service to East Harlem in so many ways. And if we have a long meeting, let me keep it quick. So there's a lot of events upcoming that are promoting small businesses. One of them in particular, or it's one event with multiple iterations, is Open Streets. So thank you so much to Community Board 11 for supporting, not only with just moral support and coming and having meetings on the street, but also with funding. So we really, really appreciate that. I'm going to drop 2 links in the chat, one to each Open Street. The Open Streets, one of them is at 101st in Lexington, quote unquote restaurant row. There's a lot of restaurants there, about 15 different restaurants where you can get everything from Italian to Thai to barbecue to chocolate mousse to ice cream to carrot cake. It's really amazing. So the link to that one is in the chat. And then I'm going to drop the second one, which is the Open Street at La Marqueta, which is just that little plaza space underneath the Metro North at 115th. And that's a smaller group of businesses, but a group of businesses that is working to come together as well. So both of them have the effect of both of connecting the community with businesses, and then also getting the businesses together to work together and create a neighborhood identity. So please come and support. Each one of them has a regular schedule of every day, every Saturday and Sunday, story time, crafting, live music, and then plenty of other things added on top. This weekend at La Marqueta is a performance by Los Planeros de la Invención and the Afro Latin Jazz Alliance, which I think we're going to hear about later. So there's a lot of good stuff going on, and we're thankful to partners at Community Board 11, also Union Settlement, Civitas, the International Puerto Rican Heritage Film Festival. I can go on, but check out the website. It's great. And then there's a ton of other events that are happening. I'm sure your calendars are also crowded. Tomorrow is Make Music New York. We're going to have a performance by Jazzmobile at the Uptown Grand Central Plaza at 125th Street. And then Friday night is Pride in El Barrio. So there's going to be a great drag performance at La Marqueta on Friday night with food by Amuse Bouche. So lots of good things going on. I also wanted to share some more practical things. We've been working on the development of a business improvement district for East Harlem, specifically East 125th Street and some of the streets connected. East Harlem is the only community district in Manhattan that does not have a business improvement district. The purpose of a business improvement district, it's funded by property owners to make the streets safer, better, cleaner, more conducive to business and to residents and shoppers. So we've been working on that. We almost have all of our ducks in a row in terms of assessment formulas and data and numbers and all of that stuff. And so sometime over the summer or early fall, we're going to go to outreach phase. So you'll be hearing more about that, and we're going to be sharing more information. We already have a large support of the stakeholders along East 125th. So it's a matter of just sharing more information, getting more people updated, and then hopefully we will have a business improvement district for East Harlem, which would be great, especially on East 125th, which is in need of loving care, as most of you know. And then I think the last update is that this morning I was able to attend the district attorney's small business task force meeting. This is a task force that Alvin Bragg set up early in his tenure, when a lot of the commercial corridors are still recovering from COVID and experiencing a lot of loss in terms of inventory, merchandise, and so he was reporting in on what they've been able to do. The way that they've addressed it is because, if somebody's taking milk or diapers, that's one thing. If somebody's taking a whole bunch of comforters from Bed Bath & Beyond and reselling them on the internet, that's another thing. So what they've done is they've targeted those kind of more criminal actions where it's not somebody who's like getting food or for their family, but people that are doing things to make money. And they've targeted about 175 of them and have been able to work on about 70% of those cases and get people into either criminal prosecution or the majority of them into kind of a mediation situation. So that was really good to hear. And then the update for East Harlem is they're also working on developing a map internal to the district attorney's office of security cameras, which is really helpful because currently, a lot of the way that the precinct works with our small businesses and our property owners is kind of a one-on-one ad hoc. The precinct may know where the cameras are. The NCOs or the community affairs officers may know who has cameras. But this is from a Manhattan-wide level, the district attorney having an internal map of knowing where they can pull footage. So we're going to be reaching out to our small businesses to begin to develop to understand where we need more cameras. That's something the businesses really want to work on. 125th Street is covered in cameras. So he was telling me that he was working on a case and they were trying to track a perpetrator from somewhere south, and they were trying to hook together lots of different video from different businesses. But then once the guy hit 125th, we had him covered. So it's, there's certain pockets where there's a lot of cameras, and then certain pockets like Pleasant Avenue, parts of 116th that might not. So we're going to be working on that too. And I think that's all it for me. I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
So thank you, Carrie. You hit all of my, most of my questions. I asked about the bid and then, what's going on 125th Street. One area that I did just have a question about, is there any update on the grant funding and the selection process for, I think it was is there any?
The Downtown Revitalization Initiative. So that is, just to bring everybody up to speed, that's the $10 million investment from the state to East Harlem. Uptown Grand Central was the applicant, and now the state has selected a committee of stakeholders, about 15, and they've had their first meeting, and they're went through all the conflict of interest training and all that. And there's going to be a series of meetings with that committee, and then also public meetings. And those will be publicized. We'll definitely send that out through the community board, where people can come and share ideas about what they would like to see with that $10 million. The $10 million is all capital improvement. So it's not programming, it's like building stuff, streetscape improvements, things like that. But that schedule will be publicized so that people can come to the different meetings. I think there's one upcoming at Johnson Community Center, and it's all guided by the state. So Uptown is not guiding the process. We're just kind of helping it along. So all of that is, we'll be sharing that out.
Good. So it sounds similar to what Union Settlement has done in regards to visioning and putting something together in terms of what the area could look like and what we could possibly see in the community. So good to hear. So I am going to move on. Do we have any questions, any quick questions from either committee members or individuals attending? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on. But Carrie, thank you so much. We will be in contact and in touch, but thank you so much for presenting on behalf of Uptown Grand Central. Michelle, I see you. Are you going to be presenting or? Yep. Okay, so Michelle Cruz with the Business Development Center at Union Settlement is going to be up next. So Michelle, you have the floor.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Carrie, and that date is July 13th at Jefferson for the $10 million general public. We can send you the flyer, Marissa.
Perfect. Thank you.
So yeah, I think really quickly. I think Benny presented at the last meeting. So just a quick summary. For the holidays, we did the campaign East Harlem for the holidays, where we gathered other stakeholders like Uptown Grand Central and Museo del Barrio, Museum of the City of New York, the council member's office, and we created we teamed up and collaborated and created this buzz in East Harlem to help to make sure people were shopping and dining local, to keep people in the community and to raise awareness of all the great activities that were happening. So we did trolley rides to the different events, from the museum to Uptown Grand Central's Harlem Night Market and their roller skating rink. we created these digital maps that celebrated all the holiday activities. And that went well. And so we're going to start it. We're going to do it again this year. So we're going to start planning in the summer. We're going to gather together to plan and make sure that this next year is even better. We had a couple of hiccups with the trolley not moving fast enough. So we're going to add another trolley for circulation. Some of the activities for the small businesses we did this past winter were restaurant crawls, where we invited the community to come in to, again, raise awareness for some of the food restaurants, for some of the restaurants in East Harlem. And we just went from restaurant to restaurant and taste a bit of their dishes. And again, the goal is just to create awareness in hopes that the community stays local and dines local. We did a trolley ride with content creators, and this is again to raise awareness of some of our small businesses. So we had a trolley full of about 30 people, and about a little more than half were content creators. So that night created a great buzz with them posting, sharing stories, and the small businesses loved it, and we had a great time. Meet and greets, one of our goals at Union Settlement Economic Development Center is to pair our anchor institutions with our small businesses, helping them to become suppliers to our anchors here. And so we do these meet and greets that we're very intentional about inviting those who buy particular products and services and those who sell them. And we had our last one in April. We hope to have our next one this summer. We had the visioning session that Marissa spoke about, which is just making sure that the community's voice is heard in our strategic planning. And so you should be getting the update. We want to do one with small businesses and one with the youth in September. So once we complete those other two visioning sessions, we'll compile a strategic plan and share it with the community on what the community has asked for, what they envision for their community. We're part of the El Barrio Music Speaks Festival that's happening at White Park every Wednesday. So tomorrow, if you can come out, it's a festival at 106 between 3rd and Lexington. And they'll have salsa music. We'll have some of our small businesses selling their products and their food. So join us if you can. Union Settlement has supported or sponsored the Open Streets. Carrie has done such an excellent job with Open Streets. We decided why try to create something new to support something that's great. So we have been supporting her, and because she's doing an excellent job. Also, the digital maps, if you haven't seen them, please go on eastharlemalliance.org. We have a list of our landmarks in East Harlem, all the activities, the festivities, all the small businesses, the dining places. So if you haven't been on there, please visit eastharlemalliance.org. And then my favorite videos, I'm not sure if you guys saw those, but the idea behind this campaign and this project is to highlight again our small businesses and create awareness of these gems, but also our stakeholders in the community. Because building equitable wealth, we need not only just our small businesses, but we need our community stakeholders to continue to be sort of the ambassadors and going out there and promoting our small businesses as well. So we try to cast a wider net by promoting our stakeholders and having them highlight. So the video, basically the campaign is we share a stakeholder, and then they tell us what's so great, what's their favorite place and what's so great about it. Really quickly, 116th Street corridor, we've been trying to work with La Villa Association and helping them with beautifying the area. We've done power washing. We've done some additional street cleaning with Positive Workforce. We've done cleaning the tree pits as well, trying to make sure they keep those tree pits clean. And we're going to continue to work with them in this new fiscal year, just to make sure that they're working together and they're maximizing on the resources they have. Upcoming this Friday is East Harlem Nights. We've had to cancel the last two because of weather, but it is on, rain or shine. at Union Settlements Garden at 104th Street. If it is raining, we're gonna go inside to the gym. So hopefully there's no rain. If there's no rain, we're gonna be out there with a beautiful band, Afro Dominicano, who is absolutely amazing. Or we're gonna have 15 of our small businesses out there selling their products. It's gonna be a fantastic time. So I hope you can join us. With this summer, we have a hotel concierge trolley ride. We're trying to get the Hotel Association to share this wonderful community we have here. So we're hoping that we can partner with them and get them to send some customers here, because we definitely need some additional funding to create self-sustainability. So we're hoping that we could develop a great relationship. And we're hoping to host an economic development breakfast forum in the fall. So we're in the early stages of that. And we're also working with Metropolitan Hospital to get our small businesses to sign up for a procurement session with the hospital, in hopes that they become the vendors of the hospital. So I think
Okay.
that's it in a nutshell, because I know my time is over, but thank you.
no,
And
thank
Marissa, yes, you will be missed. We love you and
Absolutely.
we think you do an awesome job. And we're so happy that we had the fortune of working with you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. And I just had to say, you guys have been, and there have been others, but you guys have been a staple in just about every meeting, because you're just doing so much work and you're doing the work. So you and Carrie both, you really are just really inundated in the community and doing so much in your roles. And I will obviously still be in touch, but please continue to do the good work that you're doing. So thank you. I just want to open it up quickly for any questions from our committee or the community. Okay, and I'm not seeing any, so Michelle, thank you so much. And we are going to move on. Do we have anyone here from El Museo? I'm not seeing, there are a lot of people on the call this evening. Okay. I do not. All right, so we are going to move on, Angel. Okay, so our first presentation, or this informational presentation regarding training and resources by Urban Upbound. So is Ricarla Julius here?
Ricarla Julius, I'm here.
Yes, hi, how are you?
I'm well. How is everyone doing tonight?
Good, good. Are you available now to present?
I am. I'm just outside attempting to get my daughters home from flag football practice, so that's why my camera is off, but I am available to present.
Okay, all right, great. So you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Ricarla Julius. I'm an employment coordinator with Urban Upbound's Jobs Plus East Harlem. We're a community-based organization that provides employment opportunities, job trainings, and financial counseling for our members that are all located in East Harlem. Our immediate clientele are those living in the Jefferson, Johnson, and Clinton Nitro developments, but we are open to members from anywhere in New York City. We have a couple of different partnerships, such as Citywide, Workforce Development, First Polis, Brooklyn Navy Yard, and Guardian Group Services, which is a security training and employment office. We currently have a virtual 3-day security training with Guardian Group, where our members earn their 8 and 16-hour certificate and then obtain their security license free of charge to the members. And we assist them with finding employment in the security field once they obtain that license. My team and I, we're really just hoping to collaborate with Community Board 11 to utilize your reach and your structure to build up our membership, as we can offer employment trainings, workshops, and financial counseling to your constituents. And I was hoping that my co-coordinator and our financial counselor would have been a part of the meeting tonight, just to add on to that, but unfortunately, neither one of them were able to. So that is it for my presentation.
Thank you so much. And when you are stable and have the time, if you have any information that you can either drop in the chat or pass along via email, That would be really helpful in regards to all the services that you offer to the community. Giselle, I see your hand.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Chair. My question is there a way that you guys can somehow we can kind of collaborate so we can reach out to businesses that need security guards sometimes like on the weekends? The other day I walked into a supermarket and there was, you know, like two security guards in the front. So it's not just like restaurant bars that need like security at night. Is there like a way that that we can kind of help you with that, or have you guys already kind of started to do that?
We can definitely add more to that. For the most part, the job opportunities that we have are more bulk opportunities. We are looking for smaller opportunities where they need 1, 2, or 3 people versus the security group with a hotel where they need 6 or 7 staff. So I can definitely drop my email in the chat so that if you guys have any opportunities immediate, you can send those to me. And I will definitely be sending out our calendar for trainings and workshops that are coming up, hiring events, so that you guys can pass those along to your constituents, as well as any job opportunities that you guys may be able to pass along to us so that we can reach out to them and possibly host a hiring event or pre-screen our members to send them out for those.
Okay, thank you so much.
And then I heard hosting a hiring event. I mean, I think that's always something that could be helpful. I know we discussed it a little bit during the pandemic, and then some people were like, oh, they weren't exactly sure what the turnout would be. But I think now, as we're like rethinking people being back in person, certain places, people being out and about a little bit more, it might be advantageous to think about coming up. So thank you for mentioning that. Are there any other questions? Okay, there's someone listed as BO. Angel, are you able to like unmute them or?
They have the ability to speak. They can unmute now.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I just this is my first meeting, and so I had my hand up for later. I don't know if it was going to be opened up to the community to announce any community events that we would be.
Oh yes, so we will allow that later on. We have an
Perfect.
agenda right now, but
Yes.
you will have the
Sorry,
opportunity.
I just had
No,
my
it's
hand up
fine.
for that purpose, but I'll lower it until then. Thank you.
Absolutely, not a problem. Carmen, did you have a question pertaining to this presentation? Okay, I'm going to move on to Delia. Okay, so we're going to move on. Those 2 individuals, you had your hand up, but we're going to move on with the agenda. Okay, yeah, we're okay, we're gonna move on. So the next presentation is from
Can you hear me?
oh yes. Is this yes.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm a little tech issues around
okay.
tech. Okay.
Not a problem. Not a problem. You have the floor.
Yeah, I really appreciate how gracious you are in managing and monitoring this meeting. First of all, it's my first time with you kind of leading the way here, and I appreciate that, and I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I'd like to know, if I may, I'm new to these meetings, and I'm a resident of East Harlem for 17 years. I don't understand why HPD cannot provide affordable housing using funding sources other than the 1515 funding for single adults with mental health issues.
So I'm sorry. I'm gonna just stop you quickly because we're not at that part of the meeting yet. We're talking specifically about Urban Unbound's presentation.
Thank you, Marissa, because we're all, honestly, from my heart, and I mean this sincerely, we're all so passionate about the oversaturation.
Understood. And I'm going to be respectful to you as well. We need to stay on track for the topics that we're dealing with
Okay.
now, and then we will talk later. So we want to be respectful of one another. So I'm going to ask for questions that are specific to urban unbound, okay, upbound, excuse me. Are there any questions that are specific to that, Delia? I'll be sure to get back to you when we get to that part of the conversation, but we're not there quite yet, okay?
Okay, thank
Thank you
I'll-
so much.
Thanks, Marissa. I appreciate your
Absolutely.
understanding. We're all
So are there
so
any
anxious.
other, absolutely. Are there any other questions regarding Ricarla? If not, we are going to move forward. Okay, I'm not seeing any. So we do have Lena Alfonso here. Hi, Lena, how are you? From Lower Manhattan Cultural Council's 2024 Manhattan Arts Grant Cycle. So Lena, you do have the floor. Conversation is going to be focused on this for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marissa, and thank you everyone for welcoming me into the meeting. My name is Lina Alfonso, and I'm the Program Manager of Grants and Services at Lower Manhattan Cultural Council. And I am here to share about our upcoming 2024 Manhattan Arts Grant Cycle. So every year through this program, LMCC awards over $1 million to Manhattan-based artists, groups, and organizations for the presentation of arts programming in any discipline, as well as arts education programming for Manhattan audiences with funding provided by public and private agencies. For our upcoming cycle, we're going to be awarding grants of $4,000 up to $16,000 for projects that are taking place in Manhattan in 2024. We have 3 grant programs available, all with the same application deadline of Tuesday, September 12th at 5 p.m. Our program guidelines and application forms are not yet up. They're going to be available on our website in early July. But in the meantime, I wanted to take this opportunity to share about these programs with Community Board 11 artists and organizations so they can learn about these resources and hopefully apply this summer. And thank you so much for the presentation. I appreciate that. So maybe you could scroll to the next one after this. Perfect here. So these are the 3 programs that we offer. We have 2 programs that are borough-wide. The first one is Creative Engagement, which supports arts programming in any discipline anywhere in the borough. And that includes exhibitions, includes readings, festivals, screenings, concerts, and so much more. Truly, any kind of public-facing arts programming is what we consider in Creative Engagement. Our second borough-wide grant program is Creative Learning, and that program focuses on supporting sequential-based arts learning programs for audiences of all ages, also taking place anywhere in the borough. And that may be after-school programming, programs for older adults, or programs that are taking place at community centers, senior centers, or libraries. Our third program is a program very specific to Upper Manhattan, and that is UMass Arts Engagement, which also provides grants for presentations of any discipline, so very similar to Creative Engagement. But this program is specific to individuals, groups, and organizations based in Upper Manhattan who have projects happening in Upper Manhattan. So ultimately, people in Upper Manhattan, and in this case, artists and organizations from CB11 could apply to both Creative Engagement and UMass Arts Engagement in support of the same project. These 3 programs are made possible with funding from the Department of Cultural Affairs, the New York State Council on the Arts, the Howard Gilman Foundation, and the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone, all under the premise of helping expand access to their funding to artists and organizations that cannot apply to these agencies directly. So this really is an opportunity to tap into funding that otherwise is not available for artists and organizations. Could you go to the next slide, please? So we, if anyone here is interested in these opportunities, or you know someone who might be interested in these opportunities, we really encourage you and them to join us for an information session this summer, where our staff will talk in detail about each program, the types of projects we support, as well as the eligibility requirements and the application process. We do ask that all new applicants to the Manhattan Arts Grants attend an information session before applying. We offer sessions in person and online in English, Spanish, and Mandarin Chinese. And we do have one information session happening in East Harlem this summer. This will be on Monday, August 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. at El Barrios Art Space, which will be presenting in Spanish and is being co-hosted by the Afro-Latin Jazz Alliance. So we really do thank both the El Barrios Art Space and the Alliance for supporting us in this session. We have more information sessions throughout the summer, as well as opportunities for prospective applicants to meet one-on-one with our team to look at their in-progress applications, receive feedback, and strengthen their proposals. So we really do encourage as many people as possible to take advantage of these opportunities and contact our staff. You can find more information about if you could go to the last slide. You can find more information about the programs at lmcc.net/RSVP. The schedule of information sessions and registration links will be up in early July, but I just want everyone to have it here. And then you do have our contact information session. We really do encourage everyone to reach out to us even before the program's launch. We're really, the goal of our team ultimately is to help more people be aware of these opportunities and really help them in presenting an application. I'm also going to drop in the chat some useful links and my contact information should anyone have any questions, and also happy to take any during this meeting. But just once again, we're going to be launching the program guidelines and application forms, as well as the schedule of information sessions in early July. We will offer information sessions in July and August, both in person and virtually. And the application deadline is Tuesday, September 12th. We will be sharing a flyer with the community board, so you can include it in upcoming newsletters once all of that information is up. We will also be placing postcards in different locations throughout East Harlem to help people, know more about these opportunities. So any suggestions of places where people may want to see some of these materials, we always welcome them. Well, thank you so much. And again, my name is Lina Alfonso. I'm very happy to be here.
Lina, thank you so much for the presentation. And I just love the fact that we are hearing more about grants that are made available for the arts community as well, which, yes, we know that there's funding out there in certain areas, but I feel like more now over the last few years, we've started to hear about funding that's really allocated towards, this specific sector. So thank you for presenting. Also just wanted to note that, the process of actually providing feedback and then also giving guidance to people as they apply for grants, no matter what space that is. I think that that's something unique that shouldn't be unique, right? It should be kind of part of the process. And so I appreciated the fact that you stated that would be part of the process in terms of just helping to answer questions as people apply, not necessarily waiting until after, the process and then giving feedback if possible. So right. I'm glad that that's baked into your process, as you mentioned. And I think that will make it easier for people as they are applying and then figuring out what to do. My only request is that when you do send out a flyer, if possible, because there are a lot of different targets, if you're able to put some sort of like timeline on the flyer, if that wasn't already there, I think that might be really helpful for people as they plan out what they need to do. But Perfect. Other than that, thank you for presenting. And Eugene, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairwoman Mack. I've received 2 grants from Lina Alfonso, She is extremely helpful, especially with idiots like me who don't know how to put a budget together. However, Lena, you know what happened. I got a grant from downtown, from
I
our
think
organization and from
the UMass Arts
and
Engagement,
empowerment
yeah.
for $10,000. I had to return it because I couldn't get a theater. And that's where the problem is. They are great at giving out the money, but the facilities for us to produce those artworks are just not there. So my question to Lena this time, though, is since I know the process is, what is the total that you will grant between you and the UMass? Because I know like it was capped at 10,000 the last time or something like that. Is it the 14 now we're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So in total, through all of the programs that we're offering, we're going to be awarding, I would say, close to $1.7 million. All of that depends, it has, is like a big pool of money that's coming from the city, the state, UMass, and the Gilman Foundation. From the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone, we will be awarding $200,000. So that is for grants that may be up to 10,000. But then by being able to apply with the same project that you would for the UMass Arts Engagement Program to creative engagement, you could get a grant that may be up to $16,000 for the same project. So we do have a significant amount of funding, but there's a big need in Manhattan, in the arts community, of funding. So that means that ultimately we usually are in a place where we fund about 50% of the applications we get. And that ultimately depends also on the money we get. But our hope is, to get more people in the door so they know about the programs, support them in any way possible. And Eugene, I know the venue is a big issue, but I really do hope that maybe in the future you'll apply again. I really appreciated Elba's work. So hope to see you in the pool again.
I'm thinking about it. The other question is, the last time if you had applied once, you couldn't apply second time in a row. Is that still in effect, or are you just accepting? No.
Yeah, you can apply over and over again. Usually the restriction that we have is that if we fund one specific artistic body of work, we cannot fund it again with the same funding source. But we can receive applications from everyone, like year after year, for different programming. So there's no restriction there.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you, Eugene.
I'm muted. Thank you, Lena, so much for presenting, and we will look out for further communication regarding the process, and we will be in contact. So thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so now, Angel, we are moving forward. Absolutely. And I believe, so Jose Doblez?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, so you'll be presenting on behalf of Michael for Citizens NYC, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great. And do you see screen share lit up in green on the bottom of your screen?
I do, but I can't share it until then. Now I should be able to.
Okay, all right, perfect, great.
Thank you.
And you have the floor.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank the committee members for allowing me to join this session and to share some grant opportunities we have. My name is Jose Doblez. I'm the VP of Programs at Citizens Committee for New York City. And I'm actually joined by one of my colleagues, Carlos Santiago, who is a East Harlem native son, if I'm not mistaken. Carlos, would you like to say a few words real quick? If you can unmute yourself, I'm not sure. If not, that's fine. Let me continue anyway. So here at Citizens Committee, we are one of the nation's oldest micro funding organizations. We've been around for close to 50 years. And what our main mission is to help New Yorkers, especially those in low-income areas, come together and improve the quality of life in their neighborhood. Now, that's their official mission. What that means to me in action is that we support grassroots change makers improving the communities they love, right? That's what it means to me. And so we have 2 grants to support grassroots change makers. And so with my time, I really just want to go through these 2 grants. There's the Community Leaders Grant and there's the Small Business Neighborhood Grant. And I'm just going to sort of talk about these grants, and these are just sort of resources that are available to the community. The Community Leader Grant, and here on this slide, you'll see all the eligibility. This is essentially a grant that's open to nonprofit organizations, volunteer groups, folks of 2 or more people who have a project that they want to do in their community, right? One of the things I love about this grant is the fact that it literally could just be 2 or 3 folks in the neighborhood who have an idea for something they want to do to improve an issue in their community. The grants go up to $3,000. One of the things I want to also highlight in this is that folks can apply for multiple projects. So even during the course of one round, let's say your nonprofit or your volunteer group or your resident group has 6 different ideas they have. You can submit 6 different applications then for those projects, right? So there's no limit for this grant of how many times you can apply. And it says, one of our things is no sort of fraternal partisan organizations and non-religious initiatives. Now, I know as well as everyone else does that faith-based groups do a lot of amazing work in our community. So one of the ways that we work with folks is, as long as it's not sort of only about your congregation or your religious community, but it's extended to the larger community, faith-based groups can apply, right? It can't just be used for evangelical purposes or proselytizing. But if it's about the work, right, you could do the work. As when I was in seminary, preach the gospel, use words if necessary. I follow that mantra when it comes to these grants. So this is our Community Leader Grant. And folks, feel free to ask questions. So are there any questions about this grant before I move to our Small Business Grant?
And Jose, just for the time purposes, if possible, if you could go through the whole and then at the end, if we could, that would be helpful. Thank you so much.
No, I apologize.
No, you're fine. Thank you.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to keep it quick. By the way, if you do have questions, you can email us here at grants@citizensnyc.org. Any questions around the Community Leader Grant can be sent there. On our website, we have sample applications, we have copies, we have tons of resources to help folks out. And my colleague, Carlos Santiago, who might not be able to speak, he hosts regular office hours so that folks could come in and schedule time with him to go through their application, right? So he'll provide one-on-one support. We want to make this process as simple as possible. Our goal is to get money directly into the hands of folks most closely connected to the issues they want to address, right? So we try to make this application very streamlined. There's only 3 short essay questions, and the rest are pulled down responses, right? Like demographic stuff, location, all that kind of stuff. So that's the Community Leaders Grant. So here's the eligibility for our Neighborhood Business Grant. As you can see, it goes up to $10,000. It has to be a for-profit business. It has to have been around since January 2020. Like all of our programs, it has to take place in the 5 boroughs. We prioritize business owned by people of color, women, or immigrants. And for this grant, it really can't cover sort of operational costs of running a business, right? So it's really about providing businesses with opportunities to engage the communities they serve. So for example, one of our grant recipients was Bistro Casa Azul, which is on 118th Street. And they used our 10,000 grant to open up food pantries and to host meetings in their space. So they used it as an opportunity to open up their space to the community at large, especially during the pandemic and a little bit post-pandemic, of really engaging the community. That's just one example. For this grant, you can only submit one application, unlike the other one where you can submit multiple plans. But this is really sort of for small businesses who really want to engage the communities they serve, who have a project or an idea of something they want to do to expand their service and really sort of get their brand out there through engagement, right? So how do you advertise your business while doing good? And for this grant, for the Neighborhood Business Grant, you can just email businessgrants@citizensnyc.org. And I can share this PowerPoint with folks, after this presentation. So the other thing to be mindful of is our grant cycle opens up in October. So that's the next grant cycle. And as an organization, we are happy to do information sessions. We're happy to work with folks through the application process. My program team is at the whim of the city, right? We just want to be out there helping folks fund projects that engage their community. So feel free to reach out to us and we can schedule information sessions with particular constituents if you'd like. And that is it. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to field any.
I just want to jump
Okay.
in real quick and say, hey,
Okay.
everyone, my name is Carlos. I'm a programs associate and archivist at Citizens NYC. Just want to pop in and say hello. As Jose mentioned, I do host office hours every Wednesday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you have time at some point tomorrow or next week, please stop by. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may got. And also I'm in the chat, so feel free to reach out there. I ended up putting grants at citizensnyc.org. If you have questions, please reach out there. That goes directly to me. So
Perfect.
please, just take advantage. We're here. We're here to
And
answer
Carlos, we
questions.
already have a meeting scheduled for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to say you guys are also, and can you provide your address because you're also in the community, correct? Or you have at least a location here?
Yeah, so our base of operations is the WeWork right in Harlem, 126. So we're very close by. Yeah.
Wonderful. Perfect.
And we're
perfect.
going to be hosting a lot more events at our space, a lot more leadership development events, and also resources for small businesses. We want to
Awesome.
bring in all our bank partners and sort of offer like table services where folks can kind of share their resources with the community.
That's awesome. And just wanted to highlight good work on allowing for the ease of the applications, because that was something that was a huge takeaway during the pandemic for small businesses in terms of the grants that were offered. And obviously we have some small businesses on this call, but having applications that were easy to apply for is a big thing. So thank you guys for your help in that effort. Carrie?
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Echo that. We published Uptown Grand Central. We published the link to the application in our newsletter for the business grant, which goes out to lots and lots of small businesses in East Harlem. And I know a lot of people who applied. So I was wondering, do you guys have a list of who else got it? I know Bistro Castle Azul, but I think there were some other ones. And I know we had at least 4 or 5, I think, that applied this in the last cycle. So
yeah, so that was a Bistro Casa Azul was sort of from the last round. So we're actually right now in the process of reviewing applications. Carlos and I just started today. So folks will be finding out in August.
Cool. Okay.
That's so cool. And do you guys do a big blast? Because I don't know if you did it last time, but when people do get the grants, just to have some sort of excitement around it, do you do I guess maybe some sort of blast that says, oh, these are the organizations that receive funding, or just so you know? Yeah.
No, definitely. So one of the things we want to do is actually, we give out around 326 grants total, and that's a combination of the community leaders and the small business grants. And one of the things we want to do to promote this is we actually want to do social media posts of each grantee highlighting them and the council district they're from. So really sort of highlight where folks are from, because one of our goals is that every council district gets a grant, at least one. So there's 51 total. We want to at least have 51 folks represented. So yes, we want to have a real social media presence, and we'll have a big little kickoff. I think we might have a kickoff down in downtown because Wells Fargo is one of the funders of the neighborhood business grant. So we'll probably do something there, invite all the grantees for a celebration.
Awesome. Please keep us posted. It's always good to celebrate people that are getting money. I love that. So I love it. All right. Well, great. Thank you so much. Are there any other questions? If not, then we are going to move on with our agenda. But thank you so much. Please tell Michael hello. I will speak to him. But thank you guys both for presenting this evening.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
I have a question. Hi.
Oh, hello.
Okay, sure.
Hi,
Yep.
how are you? My name is Nasreen Akram. I've been in the neighborhood for about 20 years. And it's the first, I'm embarrassed to say, it's the first meeting I'm attending today. So, but thank you for all you do. I just wondered, I'm an educator. I'm just wondering if young people are eligible to, or schools are eligible to apply for these grants so that student governments can get involved in small, in small projects in the community, or is it just for business owners?
No, Nasreen, you were speaking my language. All right, let me tell you something. All right, so one, I forgot to mention that, but schools are eligible to apply for our grants.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
And
That's
one of the
great.
things, so one of the things we're doing is we're actually also starting up a youth council to help. What we want to do is have funding earmarked just for youth projects.
That's great.
So we're starting a youth council to kind of help start that and really promote youth activism and young people's involvement in decision making. I think obviously, young people are experts on being young people, and that expertise is invaluable. So schools will be part of the community leaders grant. So
yeah, that's great, because I think that's how young people really get agency, right? If you start young, then people like me won't just join 20 years later.
No, most definitely, yeah. Schools are most definitely
they'll
eligible.
Start earlier. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, they're
Good
eligible, and they follow the same, just like I said before, with the community leaders grant, they could submit multiple applications for different projects.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, Jose and Carlos. And if there are any further questions, their information is in the chat. You can reach out to them directly to answer any other questions that you have. So again, thank you guys. And we are going to move on with the agenda. So, okay. All right. So Angel, do you want to give any background on this?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
No problem. Good evening, everyone. Angel Muscane, District Manager for Community Board 11. The next presentation will be an informational presentation regarding a proposed project called the Timbale Terrace to be built at 119th Street and Park Avenue on the site of what's currently a parking lot for the 25th Precinct. This is one of two publicly owned sites that during the 2017 East Harlem rezoning, the city committed to build 100%, to redevelop as 100% affordable housing. The presenters for the project are the Department of Housing Preservation and Development and the development group led by Lantern Organization and Mega Construction, I think that's their second name, as well as the Afro-Latin Jazz Alliance, which will be taking up a significant portion of community facility space for Performing Arts Center at this location. The department and the development team were invited this month to attend a number of our committee meetings here at CB11. The project will be ultimately subject to a ULURP application, it's a land use application, which we anticipate will be certified and referred out to the community board in September. However, we asked HPD and the development partners to attend this month at our land use meeting, our land use committee meeting, housing committee meeting, human services committee meeting, and the economic development committee meeting, as the project is multifaceted. There were conversations to be had, presentations to be had in detail regarding each one of those facets, and we wanted to allow an opportunity for our committees and attendees to be informed to the extent possible during those meetings on each one of those aspects. And tonight is the fourth of those meetings. Tonight, as I referenced, there'll be a significant cultural facility use at this proposed development, and also the economic, which is under the purview of this committee. Also, this committee, whenever we have development projects, has developers in to talk about the opportunities, vending opportunities, contracting opportunities, and employment opportunities associated with development and the operation of these projects. So with that, hand it back to Marissa. We have HPD and the development team here present.
Thank you, Angel. And if you also could, before we get started, just please, if you are not presenting, please mute yourself, or Angel, if you do see anyone that is unmuted. We only want to hear from the people that are presenting until we open the floor. And I also just want to preface before we get started that the conversation is going to be focused around economic development and jobs and all that it relates to that. So I know that this presentation has been vetted through a number of different committees. And so we want to keep the conversation around what's relevant to this committee and to this discussion, and also be respectful of everyone. So I'm going to preface that before we even get started, okay? And so now I would like to open the floor to those that are presenting on behalf of this project.
Thank you very much, Angel and Marissa. And I'm just going to wait for Michelle to pull up the slides. All right, so good evening, everyone. My name is Agata Neklitska, and I'm here with the Manhattan Planning Team within the Office of Neighborhood Strategies at HPD. With me tonight are also my colleagues, Felipe Cortez, James Chikoff, and William Sedgwick, along with members of the development teams working on this project, who will introduce themselves either during the presentation or later on during the Q&A. As part of the pre-ULURP process, we have presented to 4 CB11 committees this June, this committee being the final of the 4. And we're excited to be here tonight presenting the Timbala Terrace project to the Economic Development and Culture Committee. And our agenda for tonight will be as follows. The Timbala Terrace project came to be as a direct result of feedback received during the East Harlem Neighborhood Plan, which was completed in 2016 and was developed to provide recommendations for addressing key neighborhood issues. One of the key housing recommendations of the plan was to use public sites to advance 100% affordable housing projects with additional services for residents. And in 2017, New York City Council approved the East Harlem Neighborhood Initiative, building upon recommendations from the East Harlem Neighborhood Plan. In response to the rezoning in 2019, HPD released a competitive RFP to redevelop the NYPD's 25th precinct parking lot, otherwise known as Site B, a site that was also previously identified in the East Harlem Neighborhood Plan. And during the RFP process in 2019, HPD conducted extensive community engagement to gather input on what residents hope to see for the future of the development to inform the RFP selection. In 2021, Timbala Terrace was selected by HPD to redevelop the NYPD parking lot located along Park Avenue between East 118th Street and East 119th Street. And the applicant for this application and project is HPD, and the development teams working with us on this are comprised of the Mega Development and Contracting Group and the Lantern Organization. HPD and the development teams are aiming to get this application ULURP certified during the fall of this year. And the new 19-story as-of-right building proposed under the Timbala Terrace project will include approximately 340 residential units, of which up to 99 will be supportive housing units and 1 additional building manager's unit. The proposed development will be developed under HPD's Extremely Low and Low Income Affordability Program, otherwise known as ELA, and the AMIs for the non-supportive housing units will be affordable to households or individuals earning up to 80% AMI. So to facilitate this project, HPD is proposing the following land use actions: a UDOP designation and project approval and the disposition of the development site, and an acquisition of approximately 30,000 square feet of the proposed development on the ground and second floors to provide space for 75 NYPD replacement parking spaces. And here's more of an overhead view for context of the location. The project's address will be 101 East 118th Street, and the proposed development will be located next to Schaefer and Prospero Hall, existing buildings managed by Lantern to the eastern portion of the lot. And now I'll turn it over to the development teams, specifically Michelle, Arturo, Marietta, and Hercules, to speak in more detail about the project.
Thank you, Agatha. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chair Mack. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here to talk more about the Timbala Terrace project. My name is Michelle Ponce, and I'm here on behalf of Mega. Mega is a full-service general contracting, construction management, and real estate development firm For the past 30 years, MEGA has focused on affordable housing, and we have a strong history of working with community-based and not-for-profit organizations to develop and construct high-quality residential projects that meet the needs of residents. Our partner with us here tonight is also Lantern Organization and Community Services. Lantern is a nonprofit developer and social service provider with experience that spans over 25 years. Lantern has also been in the East Harlem community since 2000, and MEGA first started working in the East Harlem community back in 1999. We've worked on the Harlem Dowling project and on the Randolph Houses phases 1 and 2. Also here with us tonight is the Afro-Latin Jazz Alliance. I'll let them introduce themselves during their portion of the presentation. So just harkening back to what Agatha mentioned, what our vision was for Tambali Terrace, our source was the East Harlem Neighborhood Plan and the East Harlem Community Visioning Report. And throughout the various times that we've been with the community board at different meetings, we focused on the different goals that we have outlined here. That includes housing, sustainability, and open space. Tonight, we're going to be focusing more on community's goals number 2, 3, and 5, specifically activating the ground floor with commercial and community facility uses that serve the neighborhood, more specifically here, activating Park Avenue between 118th and 119th Street. Community goal 3, delivering an arts and cultural center that tells the history of East Harlem, celebrates local artists, and attracts tourists. And community goal number 5, supporting small businesses and promoting local and workforce economic development. And through this presentation, we will all talk about how Tambali Terrace delivers on these goals. So an overview of Tambali Terrace, the project, as Agatha mentioned, this is a mixed-use project. We have residential, we have the NYPD parking lot, and we have the ground floor community facility for Alja that you'll hear more about in a couple of minutes. In total, there'll be 340 mixed income residential units, 1 supers unit. And of the 340 units, there'll be up to 99 supportive units. 100% of the units will be affordable, and 30% of the units will be sized for families. That's 102 units that are 2 and 3 bedrooms. And we will have an entire floor dedicated to residential amenities and social service space. That'll be on the 16th floor, and it'll bask from panoramic views of Manhattan. And it'll provide, it'll be one of the floors in addition to the 3rd and the 8th floors that provides outdoor access for recreational activities for the residents. And lastly, just a note on the design on the building, we're incorporating highly sustainable principles, including passive house standards that'll improve the well-being of residents in Tambali Terrace. Now on the affordability distribution, as you can see here, we have a breakdown of the unit mix. I just wanted to also bring it back and center ourselves on one of the goals in the East Harlem Neighborhood Plan was to provide housing for a mix of incomes, prioritize the deepest levels of affordability, and serve vulnerable populations. So as we can see here, we will be targeting between 30 to 80% of the area median income, and we will be 100% affordable. We are also planning, as Agatha mentioned, to finance a project through the ELA program. Okay, and approximately 29% of the units or 99 units will be for supportive housing. Okay, and as you can see here, just from the division we have here through the units that we're targeting, a majority of the units that we have will be targeting households at or below 50% of the area median income. So again, we're prioritizing the deepest levels of affordability. Okay, and now I'll pass it on to my colleagues at the Afro-Latin Jazz Alliance.
Hi, my name is Arturo Farrell, and I'm the founder and artistic director of the Afro-Latin Jazz Alliance and the Afro-Latin Jazz Orchestra. And I just want to thank you for allowing me to be here at this incredible gathering of people who love their neighborhood and who love their neighbors. And it's really inspiring to me to see this. And I just want to say that we're deeply, deeply excited about the opportunity to be able to serve the community. We are deeply excited about the opportunity to create orchestras for young people, intergenerational ensembles, to host salsa dances for viejitos, viejitas, niños, niñas, tios y tías, and to have the Afro-Latin Jazz Community Center be a very, very, very central focusing point for human beings in that neighborhood. We also have great plans. We've been part of East Harlem for a very long time. We've been part of we were part of we're the Barrio Arts Space now, but we had our offices on 125th Street. We were in Harlem School for the Arts. We've been a part of the Mission Society, and I also believe that spiritually, emotionally, our roots are in Spanish Harlem. Of course, it is the place where Tito Puente is from. And if there isn't a more sacred name than Tito Puente, I don't know who it is. But I can tell you, the musicians that I've worked with at Boys and Girls Harbor and Machito and his wife. And so for me, the opportunity to be a part of this neighborhood is a way of thanking the people of El Barrio for the incredible cultural giant treasure that they benefited the world with. We can move to the next slide. And then so what we do is we teach, perform, produce, preserve, and educate about the music that emanates from African indigenous roots through the entry point of jazz. Our core values not only reflect this, but it's also about inclusivity and equity and developing equity. Who gets to tell the tale? Who sits at the table and tells the story of our music? We want the people who created this culture to be the storytellers. We want that story to go forth as quickly and as strongly as possible, because it is a source of pride. It's a source of community pride. It's a source of excellence that we bring to the world, and that needs to be continued to be told about. Next slide, please. One of the things, this is some of the stuff that we do. My wife and I began the Afro Latin Jazz Lines on our kitchen table by taping music parts together and buying cookies and water for rehearsal. And so we have now the ability to look back upon that and say, from those humble beginnings, we have created over 870 performances, 257 online performances during the COVID epidemic. We actually raised $110,000 to give to artists when other places shut their doors and other institutions weren't heard from. We actually raised $110,000 that we gave in small grants to freelance artists. We started with one school, South Shore High School in Brooklyn. And over the years, we've gotten to the point where we now have 47 teaching artists in 21 New York City school districts. We have a pre-professional training program. We have gone on to, and incredibly enough, we've gone on to challenge the notion of what this music is. I'm going to go on to the next slide, if I may. The four pillars: performance, education, community, and common space. Those are the four pillars that we are so interested in bringing. We want to educate the young people. We want to provide free or low-cost music education for the youth of El Barrio. We want to have dance parties, and we want to be able to have an organization that will be accessible on a daily basis, a very front and center place that people will gather around. We want the Afro-Latin Music on Art Center to be a campfire around which all of us gather and become a part of each other's lives. I'm going to turn it over to our executive director in a minute, but I'm deeply moved. I'm deeply moved by this community activism that I've seen. I've never been through any kind of process like this, but to see so many beautiful people that care about their neighborhoods is really personally touching to me. Thank you for this. This is a privilege to be here today. I'm going to introduce my executive director, Marieta Ulacia, who will tell you a little bit more about who we are.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is Marieta Ulacia, and I am, like Arturo, very happy to be here, very honored to be invited to this gathering, and really honored to be able to explain who we are. And as Arturo said, we hope to serve as a gathering place for the whole community. And we could go to the next slide, Michelle. And here is a snapshot of what we hope to bring. That is not only performances in the format that we have a resident orchestra that has been with us for over 30 years, but we're going to bring music and dance and cultural activities to East Harlem. We've been in Harlem for a long time, and now we are resident of East Harlem, but we had never had a house. So now we just want to be a good neighbor, and we want to invite everybody, and being able to provide not only the music and dance and programming for seniors. We have programming in senior center for vulnerable population. As Arturo mentioned, youth and intergenerational groups, and most importantly, space, because what we have found that a lot of groups, one of the grantees from LMCC that provided before, is like, he didn't have a theater. He had a grant, but not a theater to produce. So that is something that we also hope to be able to do, performance spaces, rehearsal spaces for other artists, not only for ourselves, but for artists in the community that need that space in order to develop their work. We could go to, and also a space for events. We had a gathering and someone said, could we have a space for a quinceañera? I said, absolutely, we're gonna have quinceañera space as well. And we move on. Next slide, please. And I think this is the last slide. Yes. So again, thank you everybody for listening to us, and we really hope that we could be the neighbor that you are waiting for. I see a hand up.
Thank you, Marieta, so much for that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Hercules Argiriou from Mega Contracting Group.
Yes, hi. Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for listening to about our project, and thank you to all the community board members and the community at large for listening for the fourth time, I believe, about our project. What I want to focus on is economic development and local hiring. We are a company that was established 35 years ago, and we were established with a goal to be a great builder, a great developer, and a socially responsible developer and builder at that. So in order to achieve that, what we're doing on all our projects is we're partnering with Building Skills, which is a not-for-profit organization that collaborates with builders and connects subcontractors and workers, potential local talent, to jobs. We have to coordinate with Hire NYC, but what we're able to do is we're able to filter and provide the priority to local hires, and we will do that on this project. Building Skills attends our progress meetings and connect with the subcontractors. They find out about openings that are coming up early on. They collect all the resumes, and they connect applicants to openings. They monitor the interview process with the subcontractors and with Mega, of course, and provide continuous support to recruits to make sure that they end up successful on the jobs that they get. We require subcontractors to hire locally, and we give them a goal of over 50% on local hires for any new hires. We've been able to succeed and exceed those goals. And many of our recruits actually stay on and go on from one job to the other. We don't recruit just for the sake of that project, but people get some training, and they are able to advance either within our company or within the subcontractors that they get hired for. Besides the labor opportunities, we also have non-construction opportunities, because we have seen that there's a lot of talent that has has the ability to advance in construction in project management areas or assistant project management or safety. And we actually have openings in what we call labor monitoring, which is an entry-level position. We train these people, the new recruits, and they get some office skills in Word, Excel, being able to work with databases. And often many of them end up advancing within our company to become, we have examples of people that have become mechanical engineering assistant project managers, site safety coordinators through our mentorship program that we have available in connection with DOB. And often many of them make salaries that are well over $100,000. And that's a success of that's what success is in our eyes. As far as training people, we host OSHA trainings, and we collaborate with an accredited facility that is able to provide the OSHA 40 training, and we host classes, typically 1 or 2 classes for every project. We advertise those classes through the community board. We invite local tunnel to participate. That's for those that don't know, the OSHA 40 is a certification that DOB gives for and allows, and OSHA gives it, that allow workers to be able to go on a job site. And that's an entry barrier for many people, and that's why we provide that training. On the MWB and local hiring, we invite local subcontractors, and actually I was happy to hear Ms. Cruz before talk about meet and greets. We're open to do that, and we've done that in the past. We'll in collaboration with the community board, we'll invite local vendors, local subcontractors to come and see what type of services they can provide for our construction. We encourage. There are a lot of small MWBs that have not gone through the qualification process of becoming actually an accredited MWB. So we have a back office staff that helps them fill their applications, guide them through the process, and encourage them to become a certified MWB, opening the doors for other and for bigger projects. In order to invite the MWBs, we'll ask the community board to give us all the entities that are registered with the community board. We'll go to the Harlem Chamber of Commerce and get some similar information, and we'll access all the databases that are available to us from the city and the state, focusing on local businesses primarily, and we'll invite them to submit applications to get qualified, and we'll try to either give them jobs directly or pair them with larger subcontractors to do a portion of the job. We started I started in business about 40 years ago as a subcontractor. I know what the pain of a subcontractor is, and how difficult it is to collect money, and what cash flow means. And our goal, and we're very focused on paying our subcontractors on time. We have great examples, like FTE is one subcontractor that we had hired and groomed at our Randolph project on 114th Street. That was probably about 7 years ago. And he had a crew of 5 people. Now he's a successful subcontractor that has probably about 50 workers working for him and works on 2 of our projects. So helping somebody grow is part of our goal. And we've, as you can see on this slide, we have a long track record. of achieving and exceeding the goals that are imposed to us. So you see that we have goals of 30%, and we often go to, we've gone to as high as 85% on meeting the goals. We looked at, recently, about 6 years ago, we started keeping very a good track of all our hires, not only our employees, but also subcontractors' employees. And we dug into that, and we found that we've had 277 residents from the community board that have worked on our projects, and 50 of them came on as new hires. In our effort to maximize the local hiring and to make a difference to the neighborhood, we've worked with several groups, and there's a list of groups that we've worked. The West Harlem group was on the Randolph House, which is not too far away from the project. And our goal is to be good neighbors, be socially responsible, do the right thing. In order to achieve that goal, we stay with the project after it's done. We have scholarships for students that live in buildings that affordable buildings that we have built. And actually the Lander Group, I think in this year's round has 9 recipients that are going to get some scholarships. And these are scholarships for people that go either to college or to a technical school or to anything that enhances their, will help them enhance their life. As I said, our goal is to be good neighbors. We want to do the right thing. We've built our reputation on doing the right thing, and for our subcontractors, for our vendors, for the communities that we built in, and we want to stick to that. And we're happy to address any concerns that you have regarding growth, economic development, labor force, and be good partners in that.
Thank you, Hercules. I'm so sorry. Is this the last slide, or do you guys still?
Chair, we have one more slide and a brief video we just wanted to run through, if that's okay with you.
Okay, yeah, because we just want to move this along. We got to get to questions. So I thank you for your detail. We just want to move on a little bit.
Okay.
So thank you.
I will recap this quickly then. For construction, we're projecting 472 jobs for Timbale Terrace, and permanent jobs we're projecting 30. That's through Algiers Cultural Center, on-site property management, social service providers, and security at the building. And just with that will conclude our presentation. I'll just show a brief clip that the team has on just the work that Algia does and the impact that it has specifically on youth.
Sorry, Michelle, is there something we need to do? Or are you guys showing a video, or it's coming?
Sorry, could you guys see the video?
No,
No?
I just see the construction numbers, job numbers.
Here we go.
Okay.
Apologies. Can you
It's
guys see
okay.
the video now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because so
You have to share the sound, Michelle, before you
because no
before
sound.
you share the thing, you have to share the sound. You have to stop the share and share the sound.
I love music class because I really like to sing.
And now we don't see the video.
Yeah, no video now.
Michelle will not get a tech job in theater, okay?
I am so sorry.
Not without training.
No, but Michelle will get a training.
I am going to get.
That's what I'm saying. She needs to
So,
train
yeah.
it first.
Well, thank you, Michelle. I mean, I think we have an abundance of information from the presentation. So I think that that's okay if we're not, everything's not syncing up. Thank you for presenting. And I'm going to just start out with just a few questions. And then I will open it up to the committee, and then I will open it up to the community. So first, thank you for at least providing some statistics. Sometimes we have presentations and it's, what you would like to do as opposed to what has been done. So I have a couple of questions, so bear with me, and then we'll kind of move forward from there. So in terms of the 99 units that are available for supportive housing, where will these individuals be coming from? What specific organization are you partnering with? And I'm sorry, there was so much information, not sure if that was included in there, but what organization will you be partnering with? And will these individuals be coming from this community as a first pick or as a first choice? That's my first question.
I can briefly recap that, but I'll also hand it back to Diane. So referrals come from HRA, and it is based on needs and availability. I do know that the folks that are connected and referred do also have an opportunity to list preference, and most people do give the community that they belong to.
Okay, so and this is personally, I'm going to take off my CB11 hat, and just say that, and I don't know the process behind the scenes, but I am of the mind that there somehow needs to be a way to, if we do move forward with this, prioritize people that are already here as opposed to bringing in additional people that are not from the community. And it doesn't matter where, right? Whether it's the 99, whether it's the, the remaining 200, right? That whoever's in this building, whatever sector they're in, that there needs to be a priority in some way for people that are already here, as opposed to thinking about people that are not within this community. So I'm going to, just make that note, and I'm not sure what the process is, but we need to, in all housing, prioritize people that are already here, and not try to either bring in additional people or displace people from the community. So I want that to be a note as a collective for this entire project, from all ends, from me personally.
Madam Chair, I did want to just answer part of your question there with the community preference. So for 240 of the units, there will be a community preference for 50%, and that'll be for residents of Community Board 11 at the times of application. And our team is also, those applications will be available on HPD's Housing Connect 2.0. And our team is also planning on hosting training sessions closer to application to enable community members to navigate HPD's 2.0 and how the application process works as well.
Okay, thank you for that. And then on top of that, if there are things that can also be done, I mean, of course, we appreciate the ability to apply and to walk people through like the application process. The second part of that, though, is then once they apply, ensuring that, or seeing if there is a way that they can actually become involved in the buildings. So yes, and is my response to that. But thank you for pointing that out. So I'm sorry.
Good evening. This is Felipe Cortez from HPD.
Yeah.
Adding to what Michelle was mentioning about the 50% community board preference, I think you're touching a very, very good point, which is what else can be done to increase that percentage, right? Nothing stopped that 50% from becoming a 60%, 70%. Sorry for the background noise, I'm holding my newborn. Nothing stopped from that 50% to become a 60, 70, 80%. I think everything should be complemented with a very strong marketing company, so people from East Harlem could apply to those units. So again, even though we have that 50% community board preference, that definitely things that could be done to increase that percentage.
Yes, thank you, and completely agreed, and thank you for hearing that note. The second question that I have is around the so the building skills, the local hiring. I saw that most of the projects had organizations, I guess, that you were connected with on the west side. Are there, and it seems like you are, but are you open to also connecting with Strive and other organizations that are really centered around the East Harlem community as you think about hiring and who you're going to partner with as you move forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, we are. The organization that you saw is a sample, and they're based on projects that we've done. Somehow we've done more on the west side and Brooklyn than on the east side of Harlem.
Okay, and have you, your name is very familiar, but how have you done projects here, and what are the stats on those? Because I didn't see any projects within the community here.
So our we've done we've done the Randolph houses on 114th Street. We've done actually our first client was Abyssinian Development Corporation when back in 1990 perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done projects, but we have not recently done anything else other than Randolph houses in the immediate vicinity.
Okay, so yeah, just wondering about the, the stats for this area specifically. It's great to see that you've been able to meet, and exceed local hiring in other areas. But I think whenever you're, the community wants to know specifically about, their community per se.
Yeah,
so
in the community, despite not having done much work in the community, we have, in the last 6 years, we've had 277 community residents working on our projects, and 40 of them were new hires.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great, thank you. And then I have another question about so in terms of the local hiring and the positions, okay, you are willing to work with organizations here. How, in terms of, pay, what's the pay for, I know that you said for some of the employees, their income exceeds, 6 figures, but in terms of like starting out, where is the pay for individuals that are coming in? What's the scale? Where would people start?
Currently for unskilled workers, and there's the requirement is minimum wage. We as a company pay more than that. We pay, I think the minimum that we pay is about $19 an hour. And I'll tell you that there are very few workers that make that. Typically, they're they're in the 30s, $25 an hour, $40 an hour, depending on their skill level. And we try to hone the skills of the new workers that we hire. We pair them with experienced laborers that have been with us for many years, and as their skills increase, their pay increases. I mentioned something about the labor monitors, which is a non-labor position. It's basically somebody with a high school equivalency diploma can take that position. Those jobs start paying about $20 an hour, and they quickly go to the $25, $30 an hour. If people are punctual, they show up and they do their job.
Got it, understood. Thank you so much, Hercules. Thank you. And then my one last question before I open it up is to the Afro-Latin Jazz organization. Where, in terms of this project, is this the only place that you are connected to, or have you looked at another venue within the community? Are you definitely connected to this project, or is this, are you, if this does not happen, what are your plans? And not to say that it's not, but just thinking about you separately, because you are a separate entity from this, but where are you in all of this?
We are connected to this project. We have not looked at any other site. As I said before, we've been in Harlem for a long time, but performing in East Harlem, specifically at the Museo del Barrio and at many community events. But we were housed in Central Harlem for a while and in West Harlem at the first we were at the Harlem School of the Arts and then at the Mission Society, which is Central Harlem. So we were eager to come to East Harlem. And so that's why we took this opportunity to respond to this RFP. And we are committed to this project. We don't have any other site. We are now at PS 109, and that will stay here on PS 109 in East Harlem until this building is completed.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you. Just wanted to know your involvement with everything. So thank you so much, Marietta.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I am going to open it up to the committee first for questions. And Eugene, thank you for patiently waiting. I saw your hand go up quite a while ago. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman Mack. I always mess that up. I don't know why.
I was like, Eugene, just don't.
You know, that's what happens when I try to be polite. You know, it just doesn't work. I have a comment and a question. My comment is that if Arturo is still on,
no, Arturo had to go to a performance. He's performing tonight. He just left.
Tell him I want to thank him
You're welcome.
because he has insisted on collaborating with me on a show. So, and we'll be starting that work next week, the 29th. So I want to announce to the committee that I'll be working on a spectacular project with Arturo O'Farrell.
Great.
Which I'm looking forward to. Secondly, what does the theater space look like in the building?
The theater space has several configurations. It's a small theater, but it has a configuration that could go from 100 to 300 seats. And but it's being designed in such a way that we could do no seats or 300 seats. The seats are removable. They are automatically deployable, and it will allow not only us to use it, but other artists to use it according to their specification, or to just remove them altogether and have events like dancing events or any other kind of thing. So it's very flexible. That's the design so far.
Sounds good. I can't.
Also to let you know, we are investing a great deal in the quality of the sound, because the theater, more than the capacity, is the quality of the sound. And because what we do is jazz is a little bit more intimate. So that's why we are not looking for a 1,200 seat theater. It has to be a smaller size.
Thank you. I look forward to working in the space, maybe not whenever it comes up in a few years. But I have enough material to fill the place up. Thank you very much. Very informative.
You're welcome.
Oh, let me say just one more thing. Let me just say one more thing. I began my theater work down at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. And when I went down there, I'm from East Harlem, some of the roughest neighborhoods in the whole country. I was afraid to walk down that block. 10 years later, there's a co-op there, there's restaurants on the block, the junkies are all gone. And that's the power of theater.
Thank you for saying that, because that's the power of the arts in general.
That's it.
I think in music even heal people who are very disturbed, and we have had that experiences in some of our schools. We have extremely, I would say, dysfunctional schools, that the program that we have brought have changed the way the students responded to the music.
Absolutely. Music therapy is certainly real, and it's something that's especially needed nowadays. So thank you so much for sharing, Eugene. Thank you, Marietta, as well. I also just wanted to ask quickly, is there an ask with this? Is there an ask this evening, or this is just a presentation because the ask was at land use?
It's just a presentation.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. Just making sure. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Felipe. Angel, go ahead.
Thank you, Marissa. Marietta, I wonder if you could speak in a little bit more detail about any opportunities once the center is open for music instruction, both for youth and adults, and whether that's envisioned as a recurring daily offering or a periodic offering. I'm curious to know a bit more about that.
Yes, we currently have, as you may be familiar with, a lot of programs that take place in the schools. We actually currently in 23 schools throughout the 5 boroughs. And one of the issues that we wanted to bring that instruction to East Harlem, to our own site. So yes, a lot of the programs that we have that are now in the schools, specifically our 2 signature programs. The one is called a Jam, that is a program that teach instrumental music and music theory and how to read music to both children and adults. And another one is called Griot, which is more like a community program for people who don't want in-depth music education, but want to be able to jam with percussion with each other. So that's a community kind of program. You don't have to have a music education, but you could participate musically with your neighbors or with a group like those drumming groups that are organic. We envision that we will have the more formal program, which is the Jam, the way we have it now, which is 4 days a week in groups of 2 days. For example, if you register for the program, it will be Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday. So you get the classes twice a week for the semester periods. And that's a more formal. And then the other type of classes that would be more dictated by what people want. These are for children. Then for adults, we would have in the late afternoon to evening, we are hoping to have the kind, not only music teaching and music, but also ensemble. Arturo wants to create like youth orchestras that are community orchestras. Like anybody who used to play but has not played anymore, we would provide classes so they could start doing groups, and that would be for adults. And also for seniors, we hope to provide regular classes and also movement classes, dance classes, along with the music classes. But it will be on a regular basis and it will require registration.
Thank you very much, Marietta. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Great question, Angel. Thank you so much. And so I don't see any other questions from our committee. What I am going to do, I'm capping it because this is, I know there are a lot of comments. I've seen the comments flying, but it's also not one of Xavier's famous statements. It's not a town hall. I saw 6 hands. I am going to call on those 6 individuals to speak, and we are capping the conversation because I understand we can be here all night and there was a lot going on in the chat, which is great. But if there is an event for a town hall, then we will allow everyone to speak, but this is not that forum. We do want to hear from the community. And so I'm going to call the following names and then we will cap the conversation. And so I'm calling on the record here, Dan, Sabrina, Eva, Diana, Diana, Bo, and Elizabeth. Those will be the speakers in that order. And if there is something else that you would like to relay, if there's someone else on the call that you would like for them to say something, that is great. But again, unfortunately, this is not a town hall. And so we do also want to wrap up our meeting, but we also want to hear from people. And so I'm going to first call on Dan to speak. And so Dan, you may unmute yourself and ask your statement, ask your question or make a statement. Thank you.
Thanks very much for the opportunity to speak. And thanks everybody for the presentations. So my name is Dan Cohen. I live on 118th Street. I've been in the neighborhood since, for like 15 years now. I've had business in the neighborhood since 2010. And currently I own Super Nice Coffee and Bakery on 117th in Lexington. I am also in the process of trying to find another space in the neighborhood. I put a offer in on a space the other day, right around the corner, to open another, trying to open a sort of all-day cafe, diner-ish type space. And hopefully I can find a space and get that going. The reason I wanted to participate on this call tonight, is because while I think it's wonderful that we have the opportunity to have an organization like Alja in the neighborhood, adding to the really dynamic and vibrant cultural scene that we have here. I cannot fathom how this community could accept another 99 vulnerable residents. The challenge that will create for businesses in this neighborhood, forget about, right? Because we're not talking, you said it's not town hall. We're not talking quality of life. We're not talking how bad the streets are currently and how much worse it will be. We're not talking about public safety. We're not talking about needles all over the place. We're not talking about any of that stuff, right? We're just talking about operating a business. The challenge that we have now with, and Lantern is managing, by the way, the Prospero Hall right now, which is, as I've heard over and over again, a nightmare. How we can say, right, when we have this situation in the neighborhood that is so difficult for businesses to operate. Talk to Juan from Abastos on Lexington between 116 and 117 about the challenges that he faces every day with the loitering, with the drug dealing, with the overdosing. We have the same problem just down the block at the corner of 117th and Lexington. How we can say as a community that when we can't even care for the people that we have here now, that it's okay to bring in another almost 100 vulnerable people and have a thriving neighborhood that is supportive of businesses, that our residents can come and support themselves and feel comfortable walking down the streets to go support. I make a very concerted effort to employ residents. It's very important to me to employ people that live within walking distance of the shop for a number of reasons, but principally among them is the fact that the more people that I employ who live locally, the more money stays in this neighborhood. The more, because they're the ones that are going to go shop at the restaurants and the grocery stores, that go to the laundromats, that go to the hardware stores, that go to the bodegas. They're the ones that live here. And the more money that's here to spend, the more vibrant this neighborhood will be. But already I have staff that doesn't want to even walk to work because of the way the streets are these days, that don't want to walk home because of the way the streets are these days. And if CB11 thinks that we'll be able to attract staff, I've lost I can't even tell you how many prospective employees because they don't want to come to the neighborhood. And if CB11 thinks that it's a great idea to bring this project to fruition, to allow it to happen with these vulnerable residents being added to the mix, if they think that's okay and that we'll be able to sustain a vibrant economy here, that you're out of your mind, out of your mind. The challenges that we face now, because we don't have the services, or the services that we have are inundated with, are oversaturated with clients that can't handle what they already have. You think that they're going to be able to handle more, that this neighborhood itself can handle more? It's terribly misguided. And I strongly urge the community board to rethink this entire proposition. Thank you very much.
Dan, thank you, and heard, and we know where you are located, and so very much understand your position with this. Eva.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. My question is for Henrietta. I typed into the chat earlier on the moratorium that Community Board 11 has passed I'm gonna paste it here again. Can you tell me whether you have seen it?
Okay, so Eva, if this, we're asking questions of the presenters. If you have a question for somebody that's on the call.
No, it's Henrietta, the
Oh.
person from Latin Afro-Jazz organization.
Oh, Mary, I'm sorry. I thought you-
Marietta, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay.
Apologies.
Sorry, what's your question?
My question is, have you seen the moratorium passed by CB11 for? Okay, then I think that maybe is the disconnect, right? For multiple years now, CB11 as a community has passed a moratorium asking the government to stop adding more social services into a neighborhood that's already oversaturated. So I know you love the neighborhood, we all love the neighborhood. So why would you knowingly continue to perpetuate structural racism that the government has been doing for 30 years? I just post a link on the site again. I urge you to read this, and I'm gonna post another link. There are many FOIL data from Freedom of Information Act that we have obtained showing clear evidence that multiple government agency, Department of Homeless Services, Department of Mental Health, Office of Addiction and Services, Department of Health have oversaturated Harlem with adult-only shelters, drug treatment programs, harm reduction program. We have 4 needle exchanges just on 125th Street. And with
Well, I thank you
supportive housing.
for sending the links so I could read it, but I think this question.
Marietta.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
may
Eva,
I?
I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm just gonna jump in, Eva, because I think that the question is still valid. It's just not for Marietta. That would be Marietta's with Afro Latin Jazz organization. She has a nonprofit, which yes, she's a part of this project, but I think that question is, if anything, directed towards the developers in our HPD. But the question is still valid if you are still moving
I
forward.
would think, it would be something to bring to HPD and question them, because for us, we want to. I don't want to perpetrate anything, but
No. It is a question for Marietta, really.
No, Ms. Chair.
She's not the developer.
Because she should care more about Harlem than
Chair
anyone
Mac.
else.
Chair Mac, I think I would love to intercede here.
Well,
I think that's an unfair question directed to an individual that is part of an organization that is trying to do good work for a community that care a lot. I think, Chair Mac, as you were saying, I think that question should be more directed to the city agencies, which are promoting the mayor's agenda, not only for this mayor, but for the past at least few administrations who are pushing for more housing for homeless individuals that are struggling, for homeless individuals that are suffering from mental health issues and substance abuse.
So
I
Felipe,
think,
no, I'm sorry. Thank you. I wanted to at least give her time to speak. I was just saying to her that I don't, you can state your question. I don't think it's for the nonprofit organization. And I understand you're saying that she should care. You feel like she should care more, Eva. But please continue your thought. You still have time.
Chair Mac, I just want to say that we have addressed this question in all the previous.
I understand. I know that, and this has been, but we also still have to allow our community.
Absolutely.
Well.
You have addressed, but you haven't provided a solution. How are you going to stop structural racism? This project, the wonderful Latin Afro-Jazz organizations, don't have to be funded by 99 patients. Have you looked at other projects? There are other ways
I don't
to
think that's
fund
their
this
direct
organization.
funding. I think there are some things in there because that's not the direct funding for the project. And so if you could
could someone from Lantern or the development team?
Yes, I was going to say that's where this comes in. Yeah.
And then if you can start, and if that's, I can take the next question from the audience.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll start and then kick it over to Diana. But we'll try to keep it brief because I know the focus here is on economic development and culture. But just to be clear, permanent supportive housing is not a Oasis drug treatment center. It is not a safe injection site. Permanent supportive housing provides people with their own apartments, their own home, with a bathroom and a kitchen and a lease. And permanent supportive housing is a proven evidence-based solution that helps improve the quality of life in a neighborhood because it gives people a private home. And we've heard many comments in these committee meetings, allegations that our tenants are terrible, that they're defecating on people's lawns, that they're leaving syringes and using drugs out in broad daylight. And there is no evidence that these problems are being caused by our tenants, and it doesn't make sense that they would be out defecating in someone's lawn when they have their own private apartment. And that is why permanent supportive housing works. It takes people who were previously vulnerable and it provides them with stability, not only in having their own apartment, but also having a team of social services professionals in the building to assist them. Our buildings have 24-hour security. And we understand, have there been issues from certain tenants in our buildings? Absolutely, we've had a handful of challenges, but we are quick to respond to those issues and we take action immediately. We formed a community advisory committee, which includes representatives from the Harlem East Block Association so that we can check in regularly and address any individual issues. But every building can have a problematic tenant. That is not reserved for permanent supportive housing.
And Dan,
the data behind our services.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
before
Dan,
you
you're
go
not
on,
answering my
I'm sorry,
question.
I'm
We're talking about
sorry. We're not,
oversaturation.
okay, I'm sorry. So this is what I said. We're not, let's, let's, I know that this has been the theme for the committee meetings that we have. Again, let's have a conversation about this. Let's not have a shouting back and forth. Dan, I just wanted you to announce yourself and your role in this because you did not speak in this, so people are aware of who you are in speaking.
Thank you, Chairwoman. My name is Dan Kent. I'm with Lantern Organization.
Okay,
and I'm
great.
joined here by Diane Luard-Michel, who leads our services division.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then Eva, if you have another question or comment, I want you to finish your thought. But if you do, please stay so. Otherwise, we will be moving on to Sabrina, who's next.
My question really is for Latin Advocacy org and HPD. It's not for Lantern Organization. So a related question is for HPD and Latin Advocacy Organization, have you looked into other ways to fund this project? We look at other neighborhoods, we see affordable housing being funded by market rates apartment or being funded by other social programs, such as those funding senior housing. So the Lantern Organization already managed 2 housing in the exact same intersection. You're putting even more. We are already struggling with their population. You're putting even more. How is that conscionable? Tell us other options.
Okay, thank you, Eva.
Chair, if I'm allowed to answer the first question about the funding sources.
Please.
I believe the district manager at the beginning of the meeting mentioned that this site in particular with the other site located a few blocks away from this site are 100% city-owned land. The way that we try to maximize the benefit for communities on city-owned land is by developing 100% affordable units provided and developed by city-owned subsidies. That's the way that we can manage to have units available and affordable to individuals and households making from 0 to 80% of MI, 0 to 60% of MI, 0 to 100% of MI, to reach out those that are in higher need. If we start doing market rate units, definitely the units will be less affordable. As probably you could see in Housing Connect right now, there are buildings that are market or private applications with benefiting from the tax exemption program called 421A, where the MIs are 130% of MI. What we're trying to develop here is 100% affordable units with city subsidy. We're trying to reach a wider range of MIs on this project with deep affordability, with incomes that we have heard multiple times from East Harlem residents that are appropriate to East Harlem residents. All our projects include a percentage of the units to be homeless set aside. We are included in this project as a response to what we heard in the engagement that we did during the RFP process, prior to the RFP process, that these two sites should have homeless set aside units. And we are including an additional 15% that is going to be supported by the 15-15 program, which is, as you can see in this table, what is comprised of the 29% under the 99 units. Again, I think I want to echo what Dan was mentioning before. The supportive housing program, what tries to do is take those New Yorkers that are in higher need, those ones that are struggling with substance abuse and mental issues, which could be, as I read in the comments on the chat, could be men, but could also be women. Everything will depend on who is going to be, who's going to go through the referral process through DHS and HRA. But these are individuals that are in higher need, that need support, that need permanent housing. So situations like we've been hearing throughout these 4 committee meetings do not repeat. We will work with the team to avoid these kind of situations. And we understand that some of these phenomena that are happening around are part of the community already. We want to address those situations. We want to help this area get to a better place. And I think we need to consider this project. This project is more than the 99% supported units, include 200 plus deep affordable units. It comes with ground floor, really, really good tenant that will bring and activate this part of Park Avenue. It will bring also activities for the community at large. So we will bring replacement parking for the NYPD. So this project overall is way more than the 99 supported housing units. We will come with programs to support East Harlem residents and others.
Wait, according to you, or
I'm sorry,
according
Eva,
to
it's
local
not, I'm sorry,
people?
Eva, I'm sorry. This is not your meeting. We have to move on to allow other people, some of who you know who want to also talk. So we allowed you to ask your questions, and we are going to move on to Sabrina now. Felipe, I do just want to also mention, and I do just want to make a note that we in this community, though, do have a lot of, we support a lot. We support a lot in a lot of different avenues, and I'm just saying this in general. And so, yes, while we're looking at all sides of this proposal, but this community has a lot here. We are sourcing a lot for Manhattan overall. And so I think from, some of the meetings and from what people are stating, this is where the feeling is coming from, and not to say that obviously we all need to do our share. But I am of the feeling that, overall East Harlem is doing a lot. We are really doing a lot. And just speaking to this, not necessarily about this project, but just hearing from you, and then also hoping that this is something that goes back to HPD, that we really need to do a little bit more in terms of Manhattan spreading out everything everywhere. And
Absolutely.
everywhere. So, and that's
Absolutely.
all I think, just summing up and just voicing myself again individually, that we just want to even things out a little bit more, and that definitely needs to be a fight behind the scenes, a fight, yes, in front of the scenes, but also behind the scenes as well when things are considered, because we are absolutely doing our share in this community.
Chair Mac, and I think I really hear you, and the tone that you're bringing to the conversation is much appreciated. And we've been in meetings, many meetings together, and HPD do not shy from having constructive conversation.
Absolutely.
We have been able to work closely together, and there's more to come. But I think the tone has to be constructive. Right?
It does. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And it has to be fair on both sides. Sabrina?
Yeah.
Good evening, board chair and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Sabrina Lamb, an East Harlem voter and resident. I passed 5 overdose drug addicts today in our neighborhood, near and in front of Lantern's failed social services buildings. I oppose the Timbali Terrace proposal in its current state. Timbali Terrace is the final nail in the coffin for any potential quality of life, safety, and economic upward mobility for another generation. East Harlem deserves better. NYPD officers do not have enough staff to address what's happening in this neighborhood. Enough is enough. And this so-called plan must be changed so that senior citizens can have urgently needed affordable housing and assisted living for them. Currently, there's at least a 10-year wait for senior citizens who would love to hear the music from the Latin Jazz Music and Arts Center. I would too, and children. I support CB11's Human Services Committee April 23rd resolution for a moratorium. I say stop on more social services. Lantern is not managing what's happening, and they are directly responsible for the surge that's happening that's going to impact economically this neighborhood for generations. So Mega Group, will you support building an HPD, affordable housing for our vulnerable dear seniors, our grandmothers, and hiring 100% workforce from East Harlem residents, and robust financial investment in existing businesses that are holding on by a thread because they have a junkie outside their door and not enough police officers to manage the rampant crime, and investing in the nonprofits such as Union Settlement Development Center and others, and hiring a Black and/or Latino and woman project manager, and an opportunity for the workers on this senior citizens project, as well as for the Afro-Latin Jazz Music and Arts Center to own some of the units. And Mega Group and HPD, I urge you to cancel this relationship with Lantern. They are not a good nerve. They have failed in what they are mandated to do. So I urge HPD, Mayor Adams, and Community Boards 11, Economic Development and Cultural Center to reject its current state of Tambali Terrace. Enough is enough.
Thank you, Sabrina. Thank you for your comments on the project. They were heard, and yes, we hear you. And so the next three people that will speak, and then I will go to Jennifer, who is on the committee, Jennifer Meyer, Diana, Bio, and Elizabeth, in that order. Diana?
Yes, hi, good evening. My name is Diana Larrazábal. I grew up in East Harlem and I live in the Bronx now. Why? Because rents have been really high. I had to move. So my question is, why have another building that's going to be 99% of supportive units when we already have so many? Why not make those buildings that we already have work in a positive way, make them actually work because they aren't currently working how they should be working? I am also part of La Villa Merchants Association on 116th Street, and I have been working very closely with businesses, and they have been affected also. Like the owner of Super Nice said, it's really hard to have employers come in to work late at night because they are scared of everything that's going on outside. And if businesses owners cannot keep up with their earnings, they're not going to be able to be open anymore. They have to close. So we cannot have another building that's going to be 99% supportive units. Like Sabrina mentioned, our seniors need those apartments. Our seniors have been working really hard in the community. And now they are living in apartments that are really old, or to not provide them any kind of assistance. And it would be great for them to be there in this new building, in this new construction. And I would really love to have all residents in this new building to be from Harlem, to be from East Harlem or Harlem. Like, we cannot have residents coming in from another borough just because they meet the income. We need to have residents from East Harlem living in this new building, if it's gonna happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Madam Chair, if you let me, I could maybe just address the
Yes.
point that Diana made, and I thank her for her comments. One, I did just want to clarify. There are 99 units out of 341. 70% of these units will be affordable housing that are targeting 30, 50, and 80% of the area median income. And at 30 and at 50% of AMI, we're targeting the deepest levels of affordability that we know specifically will benefit the East Harlem community. And two, we know how important that is, because housing is a stabilizing pillar in folks' lives. When they have a home to come to, we know that that is a great impact on their mental, financial, educational, all other aspects of their life. So we know that this affordable housing project is one more than those 99 units. It's also, like Felipe mentioned, it's the NYPD parking lot. It's a cultural center that we know will have a beneficial impact to the community, to Park Avenue, and will enlighten the street. It will deter other folks from coming and doing activities that we all know are a detriment to quality of life. And also, just on that second point, we do have community preference with HPD at least 50%. Like Felipe said, there's no reason it can't be higher. What we can target higher amounts, 70 or 80, we work together with the community board and all others just to maximize the total public benefit that the project will bring.
And Madam Chair, on the second part of the question about other kind of housing, senior housing, for example, that was also what we heard via the neighborhood plan that it was done a couple of years ago. That's what we heard also as part of the HPD process. And HPD is currently working with development partners on senior housing opportunities that we hope to be presenting to the Community Board 11 in the next few months. But yeah, HPD, the city, is trying to address the affordable housing crisis that is not only for a specific or targeted group, is for everybody. But we need to be mindful. We need to maximize the opportunities that we have, and we have partners that we're working currently for CB11 on advancing some of these projects. So
Thank you.
stay
Okay.
tuned. We'll be back very soon.
Okay, that is good to hear that there will be senior housing, and that's something that's going to be addressed. And that is definitely something that the community needs and definitely wants more of. Okay, so then next I have BO, Elizabeth, and then from our committee, Jennifer Meyer.
Hi, my sincere apologies. This is my first community board meeting, so I wasn't sure of the protocol. I thought this was where I could speak about a project that I was going to hold, but I'm realizing that we are responding specifically to what was presented this evening. So my apologies, but I will say
make
I've
an
learned.
announcement. I know I will make an announcement for you when that time comes. It will be towards the end, and I will call on you specifically at that time.
Okay, and I will just say though, from what I've heard, I can say I've lived here and I have seen a tremendous increase in the people that are shooting up on the streets, and it does heavily concern me with 3 young children in my home. I'm a single mom, and it very much frightens me. So I will add that, and thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Elizabeth. She's still on? Elizabeth. Okay. Jennifer.
Hi, yeah, I just had something really quick. I wanted to say more from a personal note as we continue to have these conversations. I hope we can just like examine a little bit like the language and like the tone that we're talking about things. I think we know the vast majority of people with mental illness, including drug dependency, are not dangerous, and they're not all the ones that we're seeing on the street. There are many that are living normal lives and go to work and still need these supports, or are looking for jobs and still need these supports. I have a diagnosed mental illness. I have family members who suffer from drug use issues, some that are elderly. We know these aren't mutually exclusive. populations, and seeing people, you know, say in the chat and when it's our time to speak that people with mental illness and drug use shouldn't be in this community. Like, in some ways, that's saying that me and my family shouldn't be in this community. So I hope, like, as we move forward, this is definitely a discussion I think we need to continue to have. But if we can examine that and think about that as we're talking about this, like, I hope we can come to middle ground, but and that there's a solution for both. But there has been in the chat, someone said a few times that people with mental illness and drug use should not be having housing in this community. So I just want to be aware as we're having this conversation.
No, thank you for highlighting that. And I understand that you're not pointing out anyone specifically, but that is a general comment. And that has been something that has been stated not only just for this committee and this conversation, but then just overall, right? And so I think that is a good note. Just overall, how we think about it. I even myself, you know, there are things that when I speak, I try to be mindful of how I am relating to a specific population, whomever it is, right? And so that is a good general note. I don't feel like anyone needs to specifically say they have or have not said it. It's a good general note. If the note is not for you, just dismiss it. But thank you, Jennifer, for your comment. And it is something that I think just in general, people need to be mindful of as they talk about specific populations. So thank you for that note, Jen. And thank you for sharing. So we are wrapping up this conversation. This was not a vote on this project, but I think that it is important to note a few things. One, as many people mentioned, this neighborhood is taking on a lot in general, right? It's taking on a lot. And I don't think that's anything that anyone can deny. If we're in Tribeca, we're in Battery Park, our neighborhood does not look like that, right? Our neighborhoods look very different throughout the span of New York, of Manhattan specifically. And so I think some of what was heard this evening is just about spreading that out. And again, I'm not speaking on everyone's behalf, and I understand that I am coming from a chair, and so this is a gingerly, you know, way of saying some of what was expressed. The project overall, I personally, and again, you know, I cannot speak on the board overall, but the majority of the project is welcome by me. And it's not just about me, but we are offering housing. We are offering affordable housing, and it will be mixed use, right? And so you will be also allowing an organization who wants to have roots in this community, who wants to have a permanent home within this community, a place to do so, right? And in terms of the supportive housing, we do that, right? That's East Harlem. We have supportive housing everywhere. So that's not something that we say we don't want to do, but I think we're just examining what we are doing with that and how much of that we are taking on with the project. And so that is for the developer side, that's for the HPD side, and that's for everyone that's involved in this project. So again, this was not a vote, but more of an opportunity to speak on, okay, how can we make this good on the economic level? How can we make jobs out of this? How can we look at the structure of this development? And then also, how can we have beneficial conversations about this, right? And civil conversations about this so that everyone is heard. And that everyone has a voice here. And so that is going to be the wrap up of this conversation. I would ask that those that are in the position to answer questions from their organization put their email in the chat so that individuals, if they have further questions or if they want to reach out further, that they are able to do so. So if you are able to add that to the conversation, that would be very helpful. And I'm not sure, Angel, is there another set meeting for this, or were we the last meeting to talk about this housing?
This is the last of 4 information and presentations regarding this project at this stage.
Okay, thank you so much, Angel. And so, again, hopefully,
I have one more comment, if I may, very brief.
yes, Marietta, you will be the last comment on this topic, but please, yes.
Will there be
a
there
town
were
hall?
a lot of issues in the chat about funding, and I just want to point out that the Afro-Latin Jazz is funded mainly through a lot of private foundations, and these are foundations that are not that we will be bringing that funding to East Harlem. These foundations are not in East Harlem now. So by supporting this project, this is an opportunity also to present this neighborhood to these foundations that only fund projects in Tribeca and in Chelsea, and talking about millionaire foundations like the Ford Foundation, the Mellon Foundation. Those are the people who fund our programs. The programs are not funded by charging the user. Most of the charges are minimal, and the heavy duty is funded by foundations and corporations. So that's a benefit that we hope that we could bring as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, and so now we are moving on with the agenda. Thank you to all who presented, and thank you to those who voiced their opinion on the project. And we are moving forward.
Madam
with
Chair,
this one. Yes.
I just want to, on behalf of
Quickly.
HPD, and I want to say maybe on behalf of the development partners here, I just want to say thank you for hosting us tonight, for giving us the opportunity to present to your committee. It was always, as always, was a pleasure to be here tonight with you. If there are further questions, as you mentioned before, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you for trying to keep the conversation constructive, and we always appreciate your tone and contribution and cooperation and partnership. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a wonderful evening, by the way.
Thank you very much.
You as well. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, so we are moving on. I am going to call BO first to the floor for your remarks. This is now your time to shine. So BO.
Thank you so much. Okay, so yes, I support the things that have been shared by the community in response to the presentation. I'm just reiterating that. And I'm holding an event on August 5th with a rain date of August 12th. It is a community engagement project, which will be held in the Pleasant Village Community Garden. And it is focused on sound healing and looking at the impact of our words, the way we speak, and how words shape our reality. I'm particularly focusing on how words can also drive sentiments of anti-Blackness within our community. This event is part art installation, part sound healing, part poetry workshop, and an invitation for contemplation about how to empower ourselves with our words. And it's a free event to the public. And I'm encouraging East Harlem residents to come and participate, to share their words, to be seen and heard in a way that allows us all to express ourselves artistically. The event is from 4:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. We actually start in the Pleasant Village Community Garden, and we work our way to a film screening and a reception at Cassava House on First Avenue and 117th Street. If you would like more information, you can reach out to openingsproduction@gmail.com, and I'll put that in the chat. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And also, if you have a flyer, very calming information to round off the evening, but if you have a flyer that you can also provide, you can send that to the board and we can distribute that out as well.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Is there any additional information? I know that this was old business, but really we can move forward to new business. Is there anything coming up that anyone would like to share? Any events that we did not discuss at the top of the meeting? Eugene?
Yeah, I do remind you that I did put in a resolution to designate East Harlem as a cultural district, and I would like the committee to consider that.
Okay, so Angel, I need to loop you in here because it wasn't anything that was distributed to the entire board ahead of time. So I want to make sure what the protocol is or should be for actually moving forward and voting on this. Because Eugene, we didn't have this. You sent it today or yesterday.
Yeah, I sent it about 3 or 4 days ago. But we can consider it now.
Okay. So
we've been talking about this for a whole year. I think we consider it now.
okay. Do you want to, are you able to read the resolution?
I can share my screen with you and show it to you.
Okay, and then for those that are not on, that can see, are you able to read your resolution?
I would like to, yes.
Okay, all right, please move forward, yep.
This is a resolution designating East Harlem as a cultural district. Whereas Manhattan Community Board 11 hereinafter.
Oh wait, Eugene, I'm so sorry. Were you gonna share it as well, or are you just gonna read it? If you were sharing it, I just want to let you know we are unable to see it on the screen.
Oh, you can't see it?
No.
Oh, I don't know what else I could do. Well, let me.
Angel, are you able to share?
Don't have it. I'd happily share it, but I do not have it.
Well, why can't I share it?
Eugene, are you able to email it to Angel?
Yeah, but I can read it into the record anyway.
It's showing now.
You see it now?
Yes.
Okay, can I read it now? Okay, whereas Manhattan Community Board 11, hereinafter CB11M, whose primary mission is to advise elected officials and government agencies and its Economic Development and Culture Committee, which is tasked with addressing matters impacting the local economics and preservation of culture and the district, encompassing East Harlem, Randall's Island, and Ward's Island, and is recovering from global pandemic, which has disproportionately resulted in the loss of business for our community. Whereas cultural diversity and heritage play a vital role in shaping the identity and vibrancy of cities, fostering social cohesion and economic growth. Whereas the city of New York is renowned for its rich cultural heritage, attracting millions of tourists each year and serving as a hub for artistic expression. Whereas East Harlem, widely recognized as El Barrio, holds a distinctive and noteworthy cultural heritage that served as a testament to the invaluable contributions made by Puerto Ricans, African Americans, and Latino communities, encompassed by 96th Street to the south, 142nd Street to the north, 5th Avenue to the west, and East River and Harlem River to the east, and incorporating Randall's Island, Ward's Island, and Marcus Garvey Park. Whereas East Harlem has been a center of artistic creativity, producing renowned musicians, as we heard today, writers, visual artists, and performers who have made lasting contributions to American and global culture. Whereas East Harlem is the home to numerous cultural institutions, community organizations, historical sites, and public art installations that embody the area's cultural heritage and act as important community resources. Whereas designating East Harlem as a cultural district will provide a platform to celebrate, preserve, and promote the area's cultural assets and create opportunities for artists, creators, and residents to engage with the benefits from these resources. Whereas designated cultural districts would enhance the visibility and recognition of East Harlem, East Harlem's cultural contributions, attracting investment and tourism and fostering economic development in the neighborhood. Whereas the Trust for Cultural Resources of the State of the City and the City of New York as mandated to support and promote the city's cultural heritage and recognizes the importance of preserving and celebrating cultural diversity in its neighborhoods. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Trust for Cultural Resources of the State and City of New York hereby designates East Harlem as a cultural district, recognizing the historical significance, cultural heritage, and contributions to the city artistic landscape. Be it further resolved that the trust shall work in collaboration with community stakeholders, cultural organizations, artists, local businesses, and residents of the East Harlem to develop a comprehensive plan for the sustained development and promotion of cultural district. Be it further resolved that the trust shall support initiatives that preserve and restore historical sites, public art installations, and cultural landmarks within East Harlem, ensuring that their accessibility and visibility to both residents and visitors. Be it further resolved that the trust shall provide resources, grants, and technical assistance to artists, creators, and cultural organizations in the East Harlem, fostering their growth, creativity, and engagement with the community. Be it further resolved that the trust shall collaborate with the state and city of New York, local government agencies, and other relevant entities to secure funding, implement public art projects, and enhance infrastructure in the city in East Harlem, ensuring the continued vitality of cultural district. Be it further resolved that the trust shall develop educational and outreach programs to promote awareness and appreciation of East Harlem's cultural heritage among residents, students, and visitors. Be it further resolved that the trust shall regularly evaluate and report on the progress, impact, and success of cultural districts, taking into account the input, feedback from the community. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon the approval and remain in force until modified or rescinded by the trust of the cultural resources of the state and city of New York. I have attached a link to Controller Stringer's report on the creative economy in the city as some certification. And in addition, let me see if I have it. I'd like to put this New York State Serrano's letter to the delegation, to the New York delegation, supporting the Open Stages Act, which then spoke about how $12 that you spend in the theater, for every dollar you spend in the theater, you spend $12 in the local economy. And that's the resolution I think we should adopt.
So thank you, Eugene. And also, I think, and I'm just going to ensure that I am correct in this, and Xavier, our chair, is on as well. So we have not, because we can't just move forward with this. This is the first time that the majority of our committee is reading the language of this. However, I think what we can do, and again, Angel or Xavier, please, keep me on the straight and narrow here. We have reviewed it, so at least this is step one in it. But in regards to actually looking through like the actual language and everyone approving that, like just off of this, we wouldn't be able to do that because we haven't had the time to really go through and say this is exactly what we want language-wise. I also think that everyone needs to have at least their time to read through it and ensure that they are in complete agreement with everything that is in the resolution. Angel didn't even have it. But again, Xavier or Angel, please chime in as to, what can or can't be done at this point, being that we are just looking at this resolution now. Xavier.
Hey, sorry, I'm trying to get the kids ready. They're in bed, so I'm going to speak a bit softly if you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Eugene and I covered this briefly over the week, and I actually was able to connect with him. I think it's really good for the committees to put eyes on it, and if there are any immediate revisions they want to apply to, and I want to applaud Eugene for really just the endurance run I have a lot of respect for Eugene, and I think it's important, as I said on our phone call, to make it the strongest it possibly can with citations and further evidentiary proof to help strengthen it. And I think now that it's been presented to the public, presented to the committee, and because I'm if I'm correct in my understanding, and Eugene, you'd like to present this to the state legislature, right? Because that would be the port of call you'd like to present it to, right? Which is now in recess, correct?
Oh, yes. Well, we would like, well, actually, Claudel Clear is sponsoring this bill, but she hasn't moved it out of committee.
Okay.
So we would like to put this in support of her taking it out of committee and putting it up for consideration at the Senate.
Okay, so be that in consideration of that, because the Albany is in recess right now until the next session. You have
no. Right now they're reviewing what they did before, and they're reconsidering some items that they didn't take care of during the budget.
Okay, I hear that. I think, but the important thing, and I'll get on the phone with Senator Claire momentarily. The importance is that the committee is now just seeing it, and that they have eyes on it and have their input and influence, as we mentioned during the call, that it's onus and genesis, which has been spearheaded by your efforts, and I applaud you again that the committee weighs in on it. I'm sorry, the puppy's settling, that they weigh in on it, and they could probably add a lot of meat to the bones of this. You've done a great job, and again, I can't be biased, but in the sense is I really love the approach, and I think it's something worthwhile pursuing, and I want to bring the strongest resolution that is robust as some of the others we have presented for the past 3-4 years. So I think that I'd love to hear the committee's discussion over the merits of it. And then I'm sure you're probably going to have a lot of people here who would willingly offer advice to the matter. So yeah, I think that if we could strengthen it and have that input, it needs the committee's input before they can actually take a position. I don't want it to fail here, and I don't think it will, but I think it just have the conversation now. Does that make sense, everyone?
I also think, and Eugene, you let me know, but if there's an opportunity to pass this to our committee and then have them review, because it is something specific, and then move forward with the vote, that would be my recommendation. And so that would be my recommendation for this, so that individuals are able to actually provide input and reply to you, and have merit.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the things I made clear with the chairman is that I am open to any friendly amendment that would improve this resolution. So I have no problem with people telling me, let's put this in also, as long as it's as strong as possible.
Eugene, thank you so much. I want to also applaud you, as Xavier said, because you have been very strong on the cultural aspects all year, or in general, but very much your ear to the floor this entire year, and working to see how our theaters can be used and how we can be more involved in the cultural aspect and not just the economic aspect. So thank you for this letter. What I would ask is, again, if possible, if you have your final draft and you're able to send it and include Angel as well. And then what can be done is we can pass it around the committee for any feedback, and then move forward that way. I also, Jennifer, I'm sorry, I know you had your hand up. Just wanted to get through this presentation for Eugene. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, can we get permission to post in the chat to everyone? Right now I can only post to hosts and panelists and not to attendees, and I just wanted to drop my contact information.
Jennifer, you want to send the I'll get it right. You want to send your information to me?
That was just more like in general for everyone.
okay.
Yeah, we just don't have access to that.
Yeah,
It wasn't related to this.
I don't know the permissions behind the scene. I don't know how to do that. or Angel, if that's possible, or,
I can't do it during the meeting.
okay. So Jennifer, we can hold on that and connect you with people after the meeting if possible. Or if you're able to, if you want to just state your email now for those that are listening, then they can jot it down.
Yeah, I just want to state for those that are listening, I am a resident of East Harlem, 125th Street.
Oh,
Work
I
and
was just
volunteer
saying,
here. So
yeah,
my
can you
email
say-
is, no, so just so they knew that in context. My email is Jen, JENN .MEYER59@gmail.com.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. And then Eugene, for you, yes, if you could send an email, include Angel, include myself, Xavier, and then it can be passed around to the committee. And then we can come back and add you to the agenda of items that we'd like to review and discuss.
I can't
Xavier,
put my hand down, so.
okay, you do it, but you're okay. Okay, good. Xavier, did you have something else, or?
Yeah, sorry, I missed a bit of that. I was just on the phone with Senator Claire. She's picked up despite, you gotta love devoted public servants. She said it did pass both her committee and the floor. So she said that it's with Cunningham and his committee, but there is there is not necessarily one way or another it's going to go out of the committee because the Republicans are debating everything on the floor. So we'll most likely die this session. So it did, but she liked the fact that we're pushing something, so she's going to make it as strong as possible.
Okay,
And
great.
so my gut's right where it is, and I look forward. And hey, let's throw, my recommendation is throw it up on a Google sheet. We can work on it all summer. Eugene, just like I sent you like a couple of quick grabs on the whereas paragraphs, I'm willing to, we can all log in, add, we put comment section and make that happen. And we can make she liked the idea that we're really workshopping this, and that, right now it just seems like the Republicans are going to just put all the different barriers up, but I think we can have something prepared. But that was her impulse, but it is passed on her side of the house. So now it's on the
Okay.
side. Does that help?
So much. Thanks, Xavier. Thank
No, I
you.
appreciate you, Gene. I look forward to working with you on this. Very, very tight. Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Awesome. Thank you, Captain.
Okay. All right. So if there are no other questions or comments, this is it, folks. This is it. So curtain call. This is it. Giselle, did you have any comments? Giselle.
Yes, I had a comment for you, Chair. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your help. Reach out to us. Of course, we're always here for you, and see you around soon. Thank you for your work.
It's gonna be great. You're gonna rock it out, Giselle. Can't wait. Cannot wait for you. You're gonna be amazing. So happy for you too, and it will be wonderful. Xavier.
I personally wanted to say thank you for your service, Marissa. It's been a pleasure working with you over the many years, whether here or abroad. It has been an absolute gem of an experience, and I look forward to you staying connected and working into the future. So wish you very well in your next ventures.
Thank you, and thank you, Xavier. It's been a pleasure to see you become chair and just move up and lead the committee and the board. So thank you, and I just have to say a special thank you to Angel too, who is like everything to everyone, everything everywhere all at once. Because of course that hasn't been used enough. But I just really extreme thanks to Angel. And thank you, Carrie, but extreme thanks to Angel for just years of his service. And you don't even know what goes into all of this behind the scenes. Like, you guys don't even know the half. So it's a lot, but I'm so thankful to have been a part of this amazing board. You guys do amazing work in this community that is impactful, that does make change, that makes waves. And so you guys keep pushing the agenda that you need to push, and keep fighting for this community. I will still be around, but I'm just so honored to have served and worked alongside of you guys. Amazing job to everyone. Thank you for your patience, and have a good night. We're good. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Marissa.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Bye. Bye.
Melissa. Thank you, Tessa. It's
Bye,
going to be
everybody.
wonderful.
Good night, y'all.
Hope to see you again and hope our paths cross again.
You're not gonna call the roll?
We're good. It's the whole world on this call tonight.
You're not gonna call the roll, Chairwoman? Aren't we supposed to?
Your
close the
last official act?
I know, actually it's Angel, but we're good. We're okay. I think we're all
Okay.
good to go. Thank you. We're good. Thanks. Good night.